Om Asato Ma Sadgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityurmam Amritam Gamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om, lead me from the unreal to the real, from darkness of ignorance to the light of knowledge, from this limited mortal existence to the everlasting being or the ultimate existence. Om, peace, peace, peace. Let us transcend our shapes, our identification with bodies, feeling that all are just different ice cubes. I am one ice cube. People around me, people in the world, all the different things in the world, they are all just different ice cubes. The apparent differences go away as the ice melts in this summer weather. As I do this disidentification with the form, I become aware of the one without second, inner substance. Which is changeless. As we feel this inner oneness, we are filled with joy. Love and the enormous radiance of all-pervading wisdom. We feel the unity of soul or the self. Om. Peace, peace, peace. For last more than 15 years, actually from 2008, we began this summer series, summer classes on various mystics, their life, their works, their writings. The purpose was and is that mysticism forms the core of religion. Religion has, the external rituals, certain dogmas, certain belief systems, and has the my and yours, my religion and your religion. That is where we see the conflicts arise. My faith and your faith. There we forget that religion is actually as fabric, it is one. Like we have yellow fabric, green fabric, white fabric, dark fabric, so many, but they are all fabric. So there are these are different names of fabric, but quality, the fabric as such is the same. So all religions, they have this one goal for humanity, and that they arise, as Swami Vivekananda mentions in his introduction to Raj Yoga, and that they have arisen from a deeper experience of some mystics, some people who were human beings and yet were beyond the limitations of being human. So, because they have discovered this underlying truth and they preach this truth, so that became the source of every religion. He points out that, for example, all the teachings that you find among Hindus, they were all inspired in the minds of great rishis, the seers, who experienced this transcendental truth and then preached it. Buddha experienced certain truths, what should be the goal of human life and the path that leads to it. That became Buddhism. Jesus perceived the divine. That became the teachings, wonderful teachings that we find there as well. And so also with Islam, that these truths rose in the minds of the great prophet, holy be thy name, and also all those followers. It is, and so we find the thread of unity in all religion when we go deeper. Superficially, there will be differences, and there will be therefore fights, quarrels, and so forth. But as we go a little deeper into the teachings, we discover that thread, that same understanding brought about in various different ways. And that is the reason I started taking these discussions in our summer classes, that how the streams, I rarely took a stream that is part of Hinduism, because that is what we speak throughout our regular sessions. So to show that in other religions also there is this saintly mystical experience present, I decided to take up Taoism or Buddhism or Christianity, Judaism, Islam, especially the Sufism. And then we find that all of them speak of the deep inner reality. I was very much attracted to Ibn Arabi, Muhyiddin Ibn Arabi. And for last 2-3 years, I was thinking of conducting a series of discussions on Ibn Arabi. Earlier we had discussed some Sufis here, like for a couple of years we discussed the famous that Sufi poet of love, what's his name, from Iran? Hafiz, thank you very much. Hafiz of Shiraz. Then we discussed Rumi. We also discussed various other these Sufis. Give one lecture per Sufi teacher in our first discussion on Sufis. And then also, for a couple of years, we discussed Hazrat Inayat Khan's teachings, the mysticism, sound and music. So, and then I was thinking about Ibn Arabi for some years, but every time I thought, oh, it is going to be very difficult subject. I don't have time to study this year. Let me think of it next year. So last 2 years I avoided discussing Ibn Arabi because of this idea that it is huge. The study of Ibn Arabi is the biggest volume-wise and also the influence-wise, probably most immense that one can think of. Who has written, more than 400 books? Some say more than 1,000, but at least 400 have been authenticated. One, that is, he is so influential, and many of his books are, that it is said he wrote over 350 books, and then Al-Futahat, Al-Makkiyah. Al-Makkiyah means you can roughly translate it as Makkan illumination. The visions that he kept on getting in Makkah. So that book is so enormous. It has 37 volumes, 560 chapters, and it is estimated its full English translation is yet to be done. It is being done, but it would take about 15,000 pages. And this is only one of the 400 extant and authenticated books written by him. So, I will tell about his books a little later towards the end of this today's class. Today's class is an introductory type of class. From next Tuesday, we shall take up the teachings contained in his books and some incidents that he narrates about his life experience. But today, let us see what is a Sufi. There are the uh, one understanding is Sufi is the mystic discipline of Islam. But some say that no, Sufi, the word was there even before Muslims took it up. It was in ancient Egypt and also the parts of what now gets called as Palestine. There were mystics who did not concern themselves about the worldly so-called knowledge or the worldly prosperity. That was not their goal of life. They therefore lived in poverty. It is said that this word Sufi came from Sof, means they would, Sof means wool. So they mostly there were the sheeps there were shepherds. So there would be these sheeps and lot of this discarded wool would be there. They would make some kind of clothing from that and put it on as a sign of poverty. So that is how the word Sufi came. Some gave another explanation, and that is also a good explanation. It came from Sophia, the Greek goddess of wisdom. So Sufis, therefore, could be considered as the spreaders of wisdom. So, having this origin from Sophia, the Greek goddess of knowledge. So, this actually, as it has been reported, although Ibn Arabi is called Sufi by all his contemporary and later Sufis, it is not on the record that he himself ever called himself as Sufi. So he always thought of himself as the servant of God and spreader of knowledge, a lover, basically a lover of God. It is. So this is the how we can say that and his influence, as I have mentioned there, the scholars assert that no religious philosopher of Islam after him is without a deep impression of his teachings. And God, as he often referred to as oneness in love, that is God. Whenever we feel love, which is the most natural the instinct or feeling in human beings, love, we love. And the source of that love, if we see and abstract the externals from this love, that is like A loving B, or somebody like loving the spouse, somebody loving children, somebody loving parents, friends, and all that. And we get, after abstracting the details, means the externals, the forms, we are left with love pure. This is how we generate the concepts through generalization. Like we have chairs. For example, here itself you can see some are chairs with arms, some are without arms, some are, violet in color. The others are kind of red with some stars on them. Then there are various other forms of chair. In the shrine area, you will see different chairs. Uh, Millions and millions forms of chair would be there, different, and still all get called chair because they share some special quality. It is also there is a chair which actually it doesn't refer to a particular chair as such, that somebody is a chair of chemistry at Brown University, and that chair is again a different thing. So it is the all these, when you remove the differences, chair becomes a concept. So that is how the concepts get generated. We remove the details or the external peculiarities, you get a concept. Like human is a concept. Here we have so many human beings. Outside of this hall, there are so many human beings, and there are human beings in so many different countries, and human beings of various colors, various races, various different capabilities. Now, if you abstract those specialities, we are left with what is a human being. Why I am doing this is to see that this idea of love that you see in Ibn Arabi, that we will have actually in coming six next classes, we will be exploring more about it. So this is the abstraction of the individual attractions that we feel and call it love. They are temporary. They do not last much longer. The attraction comes, attraction goes. Like a child's attraction for certain toys, it comes, after a while it goes. So, similarly with grown-ups also, the toys become different, that's all. But it is also attraction that begins and then ends. The attachments remain, but attraction goes away. So, because that is the nature of this expressed, particularized love. But when we go deeper and see the true love, then there we find that that love is only for the truth or God. That love has no particularities. That love then gets called devotion or bhakti. That is how Narada describes in his aphorisms on devotion, sa tu asmin parama prema rupa. A very beautiful aphorism that devotion or bhakti, what is it? That it is the highest parama, highest love. Means there is no higher love than that. And higher is not, the parama is not only higher in terms of its exaltedness, but and not even just for its intensity. It is also highest in terms of its extensivity, its extension, how big it is, and how it alters the life completely. So it is parama, means nothing can be superior from that. The word parama in Sanskrit is a superlative. In United States, the language has been, distorted to such an extent that everywhere you use superlatives. Ah, that everybody is my best friend. Now, what is the meaning of best there? The best means has to be the ultimate. That is, so here everything is best. Everything is supreme. So it is not the proper use of language. In Sanskrit, especially when you come to this kind of aphorism literature, the word is used with very special correctness. That is, there is nothing higher, nothing superior, nothing more intense than this love to God. So this is, and it is the God is also defined and not as somebody living in some heaven up there and then provides administration, does creation and so forth. Not that God, but Asmin, the one who dwells in everything, in every heart, and especially me, the one who is my reality. So, Ibn Arabi's idea of love is like that, as we shall gradually see, that it is. We shall see a few things about his early life, the childhood. He was born in a town named Murcia in Andalusia, Al-Andalusia. So, Al-Andalus or Andalusia is a region of what is called Spain now. One must understand that in 1165, when Ibn Arabi was born, and for about a century since then, there was no idea of Europe as we have it now. This part it was more connected with Arabia, this Spain. And you see, actually, there is a very nice book about how in that region of Spain you find the coexistence of Judaism, Christianity, and Islam till the Crusades began. Now there comes the politics, superiority, my religion, your religion, violence, all that steps in there. So, but otherwise this region had all the three different religions, and it seems that Murcia was a very prosperous town then, where he was born in 1165, according to some sources. It is now, we had given the date of 18 July, some say no, it is August, and so forth, the minor differences. So it is astonishing in a way to see that they have kept such good records, especially in many other such saints, that you don't find their exact date of birth, and there are so many speculations full of controversy, but world has to acknowledge that these Muslim societies, they were quite accurate in keeping records, dates of birth, and so forth. So it is, so here he was born in 1165 AD, and in this nice town, Murcia, which still exists, as you can see in the map there. This was the early map of Spain. Uh, and then in a year or so it changed uh, as there were tensions that were brewing up, the political, these, so there were already the preparations going on for crusades, but we will not discuss that here unless necessary. And his mother was most probably from Tlemcen, it is in Algeria. In his Futuhat al-Makkiyah, which is the biggest book that we mentioned, he writes of a deceased maternal uncle, a prince of Tlemcen, who abandoned wealth for an ascetic life after encountering a Sufi mystic. So, in his family, it seems it was there. His uncle had given up everything. He was a prince and then decided to go on searching for the ultimate truth after he met a Sufi mystic. His father's ancestors came from Yemen. Father served in the army of the king of Murcia, Ibn Mardanish. Ibn Mardanish was the king of Murcia, and father, he was a minor officer in the military or in the court of the king. But as it happened, this kingdom was attacked by the other kingdom. This king was defeated by Almohad Caliphate. Was a much bigger kingdom, and this Murcia king not only lost the battle, lost his life as well. And so the family moved to Seville in the court of Abu Yaqub Yusuf, who was the then became the administrator of the whole region, including Murcia. At that time, Ibn Arabi was 7-year-old. And he got the customary military training and other education at the royal court. It is since the father was in the military training was customary in those days. Everybody had to take it because one has to protect against the others. And so, military training was not something that is exclusively for the army people who would be constantly serving in army, but those who are farmers or have other vocations, they also would take up some minor military training. So, but he mentions that his interest was more in playing with friends rather than reading the books. Now the things were moving on in this life in this way. Nothing extraordinary was till then noticed. But when during his early teenage years, he got an experience, a special experience. Many of us get that, but we immediately forget it. It is this experience of about the inner reality that changed his life. He was an early teen when a mysterious experience in Arabic gets called fana. Fana, you find this word therefore in the Urdu language used in Punjabi also, you might be knowing fana. Means it is a dream-like experience. So it is not very real as such, but very real from inside. So, and that changed everything. Now, all the details were not properly inscribed in any of his works for this experience, but this left a very indelible impression on him, changed his way of living. If the experience is real, then it changes your way of living as well. When our awareness, our consciousness is of one type, our life also goes accordingly. That when you think that I am so and so, like I think that yes, this is Yogatmananda, I am the minister at the Vedanta Society of Providence, and I have to give these summer classes on Ibn Arabi, and my life will go on. Oh, let me study. Then so many such things happen. And when my awareness, self awareness changes, it will be a different life. So, therefore, when he had this experience, he saw this a differentiation of the universal reality comprised by that look, that there is a universal substance in all appearances. The appearances do differ, but you have that inner truth that encompasses everything. You learn to distinguish between the external appearance and inner reality. Actually, we are encouraged always to do that because taking the external appearance to be real, we get cheated in life. It is almost all cheating happens because we get uh, into just looking at the externals. So, whatever appears, but appearances are deceptive. One of my teachers used to tell that he used to tell in Marathi, I will translate it in English. Uh, Appearances are deceptive, sometimes so, sometimes not, and therefore one gets cheated. That the appearance could be real, but not always. Many times it is cheating, and thus one gets cheated by falling prey to what appears. So, the wisdom in everything lies in going deeper and seeing what is being, what is there. It is, we get cheated many times. It is that because we see the appearance. It is like the wax museum, the presentations are so real that you feel that that person is right there in front of you, but it is not there. It is different. I went to see a panorama, a very famous panorama in Holland. And then, oh, it appeared to be such a beautiful, a real sea coast, a nice beach, and the fishing boats there. A lot of the ropes were lying. Looked so real, I actually extended my hand to pick up the rope. It was just covered by glass and it was just a painting. There is nothing. So appearance is so, makes you feel so real. And that is how we see all things. The appearance we see, the appearance is different, and therefore the reality also we conclude to be different. No, friends, appearances are different, but the reality in each of them is same. This is the penetrative vision he got in his early teenage life. And he saw Jesus, not exactly as we have different pictures of Jesus. What kind of vision he got is not known. Uh, uh, he saw Jesus who changed his understanding to the truth, and thus his life changed, and everybody noticed. His father noticed the change in him and spoke to a well known philosopher, there. His name was Ibn Rushd Averroes. He became the first guide. Ibn Arabi had many teachers, but he was the first one with whom he interacted. And in his own words, he mentions that he learned the distinction between rational, scientific, or formal knowledge and the insight into much deeper reality. And we see in Upanishads also this is described as the Paravidya and Aparavidya. Para, the supreme wisdom that you cannot get through the senses. You cannot get that supreme wisdom through rationality. Not that it is irrational, but it is superior to rationality. There are three levels of knowledge discussed by Swami Vivekananda. That one is instinct. Then there is the rationality. And then there is the intuition or inspiration. That instinct is with human beings and also all creatures. All animals, you will see their behavior is instinctive, that whatever they feel as food, they would go to it. There is, if you train them differently, they will differently do things. But there is no such thing as thought process. No rationality involved, no reason that why should I do this? That question does not arise at all. So, this is the instinctive life. And human beings also, a lot of it, our life is just instinctive. But human beings also have the reason, the rational thought. The human beings ask for reason. Why should I do it? That it is. I asked yesterday my physician for something, please. He said, well, there has to be a justification for that. I have to write down some justification. Otherwise, I will not be able to tell all these things to you. Because we want reason. Why should it be? So, this is one level of human knowledge. And this level, the scientific knowledge, means all our sensory organs are used and their inputs are connected rationally, and then they keep on getting built more and more. That is the beauty of it. As I mentioned many times, in this hall you won't find anything that is just automatically coming from nature. Everything, like the chairs that you are sitting on, an extensive thousands of years of research and engineering and development of technology has gone in various fields like metallurgy, the fabric making, the dyes, and so forth. So all this you can see, human beings change their living style with this kind of knowledge, this scientific, rational knowledge. And because of its efficacy in changing one's life, uh, see, we are able to go to now moon, maybe Mars. All these things are possible. So much advancement is happening. And so it is felt that this is all. We don't need anything else. The God is dead. There is no need for spirituality or any higher life. But this assumption is only based on superficial understanding. There is no depth in analyzing the senses themselves, on the basis of which we collect all this knowledge. It is, as Swami Vivekananda mentions, that we have never verified that the credentials of the sense organs. He says that the senses keep on cheating us all the time, and yet we believe what they tell us. And this whole scientific formal knowledge is the product of that. Our societies that we boast about, they are outcome of this knowledge. But human beings have a third very important dimension, that you seek something that is permanent. All this that we are getting by the rational knowledge is transitory. It is contradictory. In principle, it can never reach perfection, because of the very process that is used for that. It is empirical, therefore it is called empirical. Means constantly changing. As the data changes, this knowledge also changes. In fact, even what is called logic, the basis of rational thinking, that also is not without flaws. So, therefore, an idea that gradually rises in human beings, that what is after all the reality or the truth that is beyond time, beyond space, beyond an individuality, that impersonal and universal and beyond time, eternal. So that reality one starts searching after. So also one keeps on seeking for the answer to the questions that we want happiness, we want peace. There is no doubt in anybody's mind about it. All other things that we do, all other objects that we run after are basically for becoming happy. Isn't it? What Abhijit? No? Yes. For becoming happy, we go after other things. So if happiness is gotten, then that other thing is not necessary. If I seek money, because through money I can buy many things. If I get all those things without money, then I don't need money. So if I get happiness without going to all different objects and persons and things, then I don't need them. And again a question, even after having all these objects, do I have happiness? No. We feel still depressed, worried, and finding no joy. Asked our Teresa. That is her business, So she feels happy that the people are not happy. Anyway, like the doctors will feel happy when there are patients. If there are no patients, then the doctors will not feel happy about it. So, in that sense, I am saying, it is if people feel unhappy, depressed, lost, without purpose, and all that. So it is, you have to write these days in doctor's office. I was writing very funny questions, about, a long questionnaire. Are you feeling this thing in life? Are you feeling enthusiasm in living? Did you ever feel sad in life? And all those questions. Why so much of development? And yet, we are, so far as happiness goes, we are at square number one. Back there, nothing has changed. What about love? We all know how much love did we get in life due to all this scientific development. Mm. No, that has not changed the situation at all. Peace, the main things that we look for in life, we didn't get any extra peace because of scientific development. No happiness, extra happiness has been obtained through all this. And so the mind keeps on looking for something deeper. And that is where the intuitive or inspirational aspect comes in. So, this is what he learned from this Ibn Rushdi Averroes, that he mentions that he learned the distinction between rational, scientific knowledge and the insight into much deeper reality. It is very distinct. In all different teachings of Sri Ramakrishna, you will find these distinctions. Not that the one is necessary and other is unnecessary. Both are necessary. At different levels, It is just as you say, the chairs are necessary for you to sit, microphones are necessary for me to speak into. All these things, they are necessary. Necessity of one does not exclude the necessity of other. That is why this Upanishad that I am quoting from, where this para and apara is mentioned, Mundak Upanishad, it is told there that dve vidye veditavye paracha aparacha, that these two types of knowledge is to be learnt, veditavye, a very clear statement that veditavya means worthy of learning. That is the that Sanskrit, that word, that Sanskrit ending comes there, tavya. Tavya means should be done, must be done, like that, worthy of being done. So, dve vidye veditavye. Both types of knowledge should be learned. Paracha, aparacha. Sri Ramakrishna used to tell about this knowledge of science. Yeah, okay, what it gives, that you get by that how to grow the grains, how to build house, scientific knowledge. Means like our this chemistry scholars tell, mixing this with that you get this and so forth. So that is all very good, but it does not give you Satchidananda, the existence, consciousness, bliss. You don't get by that. So for getting this one thing, you follow that. for getting the absolute bliss, you follow this. So it is when you find that the absolute bliss is found, you don't need the other knowledge. So this is how his life then took another turn. Then later events, at the age of 36, he left Andalusia and stayed in Tunisia for a year. After, I am not giving more details. There are more details in some biographies, but I am giving you minimum of this, that it is after he returned, his father, and a few months later his mother too passed away. Then he went abroad and returned briefly and left for Tunisia. And after some years, he got a vision again. In between also he was getting these visions. But one vision told him to go to east. So gradually, through visiting many different places, he arrived in Mecca. He stayed there and again around, not continuously, for 3 years, and had many visions. And he started writing the monumental Futuhat al-Makkiyah. It is said that there is few have read this book completely, and fewer can boast that they understand it. So this work continued about 3 decades, almost till his passing away later in Damascus, Syria. He wandered into many places, but last more than 2 decades he had settled in this. And again, the main theme in his writings is Wahadat al-Wujud, which we may translate as oneness of being and / existence. And now some critics have called this a confusing statement, that being is something that is common to all. Existence is interpreted as an expression of it in various things, like this exists. So the being is common entity, existence is a changing expression. So what is wujud? Whether it is the existence or the oneness of this existence or oneness of being. For students of Vedanta, this will not be a problem at all, because this question is always raised and answered in Vedanta without answering it. The answer to this question is no answer. That this very being manifests in all the varieties. How and why, we cannot tell. That is its nature. So that is called Maya in Vedanta. That this oneness of being, the being is one. And this is, sometimes this is translated also as the oneness of God, that God is one. Now this is a common teaching that you find right from the 10 Commandments continued in Islam, but it is interpreted variously. That God is one means what I call God, that is the one. All others that they worship, those gods are to be destroyed. They are worshippers of false God. So we alone worship the right God. That kind of attitude it developed and became very detrimental, gave rise to violent attacks and destructions. But the original idea in this is that God is one, period, that it is, everything is one. That is God. God is the oneness in everything. As there is in this lot of philosophy is involved, and he therefore Ibn Arabi is known as one of the first Muslim philosophers or philosophers of Sufism. So it is that this dilemma of one and many and so forth. So this is his special teachings. We shall look into other aspects. Mainly his teachings, the couple of books that we mention, that it is that one is this Futuhat that we spoke about. Obviously, we are not going to read the whole book of 15,000 pages here, but we shall pick up a few things from that. And then another important, much smaller book, Fusus al-Hikam, that is the gems of wisdom. It is all, or the bezels of wisdom, some say ringstones of wisdom. And then a book of various incidents that he mentions, the holy spirits, the holy souls that he met at different places and what he learned from them. Ruha al-Quds. Ruha means the soul. So it is. And I am telling some authorities, you can look for on internet for the wonderful books available there. One is by Stephen Hertenstein. Then there is one Henry Corbin, who was an initial researcher in that, and then another initial researcher who dealt a lot of this great works on this. It is Chittick. So they are the Western scholars who have done a lot of translation and interpretation work on Ibn Arabi. You can choose those books as additional readings. So, any questions on what we discussed? Yes, please. Till then, we can deal with questions upstairs if there are any. Is there any? Okay, please. First from the top. Hey, Charlie. First, we will take up the question from the web.
Is the existent non-existent the oneness? Is faith in the existence of non-existence the only requirement?
I'm not able to get what. Please pronounce it clearly.
Is the existent non-existent the oneness? Is faith in the existence of non-existence the only requirement?
Only what? Oh, uh, I am not getting the proper question. Is what is the requirement of what? Faith in the existence of non-existence, the only requirement. Oh, well, no. It is not like that. The uh, existence is, it appears in various objects and disappears. But that which is existence or being, it doesn't disappear. The forms appear and forms disappear. So that knowledge of the non-existence of forms is needed, that the forms are just appearances. Yeah. Now, give him.
It's a different microphone.
To put it.
Swamiji, two questions. One, what was the encounter with Christ? Was it something he read in the Bible? Was it a physical encounter? And secondly, this oneness of being, is he describing Brahman or that there is one God?
The answer to first question, we don't have any clear reference that whether he had read Bible or not. He might have, but we don't know what form of Jesus that he saw. It is mentioned that he saw Jesus there, but in what form and whether what exactly he told him, that is not fully known. But it was an illuminating experience. These experiences are very difficult to catch in words. It is what exactly? Like the beauty of a painting is very difficult to catch in words. It is so. This is also something that he saw. What he saw is certainly not a person alone, but something beyond. And the second question that you had is what? Yeah, oneness.
God, or is he saying Brahman?
It is Brahman, as it is expressed there, what we in Vedanta call Brahman. That is the one without second existence itself. Thank you. Okay, please.
So, are the teachings of Sufism different from the traditional, like Islamic?
They are not different. They are same. The question is of emphasis. Like the teachings of Upanishads and other teachings that you follow in Hinduism, are they different? Yes and no. It is, you pick and choose what to follow. It is like you pick up certain teachings in Islam and say that it is a religion of terrible violence. Same thing can be done by picking up certain teachings in Vedas. And can be shown that it is religion of lot of violence. So, but it is, the Sufis have always maintained, Islamic Sufis, that they are following what is called Hadith. Hadith means the Quranic teachings. Yeah. Yes, please.
Is apara related to the word apparent?
What?
Is apara related to the word?
Apara.
Is it related to the word apparent?
No, no, no. It is not like that. It is the relative knowledge. Apara means lower. Huh? That is apparent, yeah. That is apparent, comes and goes, transitory. Yeah. So, more online, okay.
So it's two more from the same questioner, and they've been posed as sort of hypothesis, and so I'm going to put them together in one question. Like, they're asking to confirm whether their statement is correct. So first, when they've added one more, so it's 3. So the the oneness is the renunciation of all supported thought and the submission and surrender to the purity of heart wisdoms. That's the first hypothesis. Then they're asking if the transfiguration of Christ is the acknowledgement of self as a light being. Okay, and there's one more, but maybe we'll do those two.
Well, I sorry, but I could not hear exactly. It means only sound was coming, but no words were decipherable. It was the experience of unity. No distinct words were being heard. Please, you have something? Okay. So please let him send an email. Okay. Thank you very much, friends. Om Asato Ma Sadgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityormam Amritam Gamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Lead us from the unreal to the real, from darkness of ignorance to the light of knowledge, and from this limited mortal existence to the immortal true existence. The next public program in this summer vacation time is Guru Purnima celebration on 21st, not next Sunday, but Sunday after that. Between that coming weekend, we have the meditate-a-thon, but that is not for everybody to come in and join. But Guru Purnima on 21st, from 11 to say about 4 o'clock, you are all welcome to join. Thank you.